Hey, what's slicing everybody? Chris back with CAC Knives here with my favorite video of the year to do, but also the one that takes the most work. We're going to do a collection update video, and I do have some other knives that are either being customized or on the way, but you know, that might always be a thing, so we might as well get to it. Grab a beer, grab your tea, grab your coffee, whatever you get, and let's do this. It will take a minute, but I think it'll be worth it. And anybody that's new to the channel, welcome. And this will give you a little bit of taste of what I consider probably one of the most unique knife collections out there. And I'm very proud of that. So even though we're starting it off kind of basic here, we're going with the Sencut and Civivi brand first. This is my Sencut Watuga. It's just in D2 steel, G10 jade. Gotta have a few basic knives, and this one's pretty good in terms of that. The next two are also Sencuts, but they have custom scales. For my friend that owns TWK Knives, he makes these scales. You can find him on Instagram, and he has an eBay store. The knife's pretty nice. I mean, these Sencut knives, you know, if you get them from White Mountain, you're looking for between $35 to $45, and you know, you're getting either D2 or 9CR18 MOV. Pretty good value for the money. This is a big knife though, beefy boy, but I like having some big knives in my collection. Moving on, got another Sencut. That was the Fantara, by the way, and this is the Vesperon. More scales done by him, different kind of resin scales. Really nice. The titanium clips on them, of course. I really like titanium clips, and if I can get them, I usually do. And I also love resin scales, so that's probably going to be a theme you're going to see throughout a bunch of different knife companies here today. But yeah, Sencut's great value for the money. As are these, Civivi. Got the Brian Brown X-Zone or X1. Not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but it's my first and only knife in this new kind of Damascus that Civivi started doing. They started doing two different kinds, this kind and the one that I'm about to show. Very cool. It's a very different kind of Sanma style Damascus. We take a little more in-depth look at it in the review, but yeah, I really love Brian Brown as a designer, and his knives are pretty expensive. But when Civivi and him teamed up, I was pretty happy about it, so I had to get one of those, of course. Here we got the Gordo, or Grodo, however you want to pronounce that, with the other kind of new Damascus that Civivi is doing, with the other kind of titanium clip that they do with the kind of lightning finish with the bronze, blue, and purple. Looks pretty nice. I know all three of these had the kind of gold dot and bright blue. This one has the other kind of titanium clip Civivi does. But yeah, these two new Damascus styles, Civivi's really been, this is one of the things that I've really liked about Civivi, is they always change up their stuff every so often and bring us new things. That's why I think they're one of, if not my favorite knife company. We got the good old Civivi Bull Tusk and Polished Ultim with a lynch clip there, a fade lynch clip. I thought it looked real good with the Polished Ultim, and I still think it does. Lynch does a great job with their clips, beautiful clips. And this is a very high polished stainless Damascus on this one. Another big knife there. Still not as big as the Fantara though. Then we got, of course, my Praxis that I just did an unboxing for the other day. This one was sold to me on a knife group on Facebook because somebody had swapped the liners, and it's now a purple and gold knife, which looks great with that kind of bronze to purple anno clip. So yeah, and this is the Damascus that Civivi used to do. This was the first attempt. It was very high polish, probably maybe even higher polish than the Bull Tusk. You know, it's a pretty one there. I had one of these, of course, the Desert Warrior themed. This is a Blade HQ exclusive one here that I purchased on the secondary on eBay. To get these, you had to spend a certain amount of money. This knife is called the Scintilla, I think is how you pronounce that. But yeah, sweet little knife. I wasn't sure how I'd like the desert theme, but I had to have one as kind of the knife community meme, right? So there's the one that I got. And of course, an Elementum, right? In the gold shred carbon fiber. This one's pretty old. This one's been in the collection for quite some time. Everybody's got to have an Elementum, and I have it in this blackened Damascus that they got. Yeah, good knife. I have to agree, you know, with the community. Harder to reverse flick knives on camera sometimes, but the Elementum is definitely an icon. One of the best. So that was my Civivis and Sencuts. By far the brand that I have the most. If you don't know, Civivi and Sencut are technically the same company. Sencut's more of the budget, and then they have WE Knives, who is the premium. I do not own any WEs, but I have handled some before. So now we're going to move on to brands that I own 2 or 3 knives of each. We're going to start with another one of my favorites, Kizer. This is was, I should say, a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive Kizer Lieb with this kind of green, bright, shiny resin. This was the God of Mischief is what they called this. Has kind of bronze all over it, along with some purple there. Pretty awesome little knife. I must say, only 100 of these were made. If you find one on the secondary, it probably will be overpriced a little bit. I think these were sold for 70 on the secondary. They probably sell for at least 100, if not more than that, because they're pretty rare. So yeah, it's a pretty nice little piece that I have in the collection there. Next is my favorite Kizer that I've ever held in my hand. This is the new Feeweed, I believe is the pronunciation, in Z-Wear blade steel. Pretty rare combo with this kind of gold carbon fiber as well, which you do not see on knives very often. This is the kind of melted gold. I actually think this slab looks the best on my knife anyways. But yeah, and they have gold accents. This knife is just a perfect gentleman carry with a not very commonly used steel. Perfect action. And I just love it. I love the overall design. The designer's a really nice guy. He has talked to a lot of us on the Kizer Facebook group, and yeah, I highly recommend that one. A lot of those sold out pretty quick, but Kizer has said they are making more, so I would definitely check that one out when it becomes available again. The Z-Wear one is the most popular because of the blade steel. Here we got another Kizer. This is the oh, come on now, the Towser S, and this is in 154 cm, which is definitely a step up from budget steels. I've put Damascus thumb studs on this bad boy to go along with the customization of the TWK knives, green, white, and black resin scales with some little bit of copper mesh and cool wood going through the middle there. This knife is very cool. A lot of these resin knives look a lot better in person than they do on video, but I do my best. And then a company that was kind of born because of Kizer. Let's go through my 2 concepts. This is the 80s camo carbon Little Main Street, a very small knife in S35EN, but this knife is very high performing for its size. It's got full titanium construction. They lime greened all the hardware, which was a great idea. 80s camo carbon on the scales, of course, and I got a really lucky slab. Pretty good even mix of all the colors there. And S35VN is one of my favorite overall steels, so yeah, I really like that one. Never even know it's in my pocket. And then my other concept, this is the AGI that actually had two designers, which is interesting because it's kind of just a simple little knife. Not as small as the little mainstream, of course, but it's got this copper carbon fiber with some brass titanium hardware, brass colored or bronze colored, if you will. And I thought this knife just looked really clean. I really like Concept and Kizer's really clean models they've been doing, and you know, some of them just look so good. I usually don't get simple models, but you gotta have some clean models in your collection, right? And these two are actually some of my favorites, this one and that one, because of how simple and just clean they look. Not to mention they're all premium materials. This one's in S35VN as well. Moving on to QSP, we have the Hawk, which has been in my collection for quite some time because of these. Oh, I hit the camera. I do apologize. Because of these very unique copper carbon fiber scales. These things are not the same as the AGI's copper carbon fiber. You can see there's a very big difference. And in the sunlight, these actually look very awesome. Like, I can't over exaggerate how cool these look. And you got the kind of basic Damascus that you see on a lot of knives. And unfortunately, you can't get titanium clips for QSPs that don't come with them yet. Hopefully that's something in the future that they choose to do. And we won't spend much time on this one, but it is in the collection, of course, the very popular QSP Penguin. And this kind of D2 steel red carbon fiber over G10. Very basic knife, but very efficient design, which has led it to be one of the most popular in the industry. All right, so I got a couple of Spyderco. Spyderco is one of my top 5 favorite brands, but they are pretty pricey, so I can't get them very often. But here we got the Little Native, I believe is the name of this one, in this kind of Raffia Noble copper mesh, which looks very cool. You kind of get what you kind of pull a luck out of the draw with these, just like carbon fiber. I would say my clip side looks better with the mesh than my show side does in this particular case, though it is kind of cool that you can see through it in the sunlight. These just beam. I do have a Lynch clip on this as well. But yeah, pretty nice knife. I don't carry it too often because I don't want to get the clear coat scratched up, but it's a pretty nice one nonetheless. This one I do carry a lot more often. This is my knife choice Delica in Spyderco's VG10 Damascus, but mine has a very nice twist. I've not done a review on this yet. Very cool. Mystery Mokame themed titanium emboss pocket clip. Very nice. And I thought it kind of went cool with the theme as well. It matches the collar of the FRN scales of the Delica. And I used to own one that was in titanium, but it was hard for the clip to work. But actually it works better with this knife. So yeah, I actually like the lightweight one better. Easier to carry. And very, very, very awesome knife. Probably fit 2 more on the screen, I'd say. Let's do my 2 Artisan Cutlery knives, which are actually the same model, so let's bring them both out here. Recently did a review on these as well. This is the Home, and these are gorgeous resin knives. They have other colors as well. Purple is sold out. Sorry, I knew that was the most popular by far, and it did sell out. Mainly because it has this cool theme. I got the flashlight here. I could show you real quick. It has this real cool theme. When it's hit my light, red starts to come through. You can kind of see it there. See? Right where my thumb is, that line. Red comes through everywhere that line shows. And it's very, very unique. Like red is in that color red. It's very cool. Kind of like a vampire. But yeah, those are pretty good knives as well. Let's move all of these out of the way. Not a really efficient way to do this. I could just leave them all in the case and then just pull them out one by one, but I kind of like people being able to see groups of knives up here in case they have some favorites they want to look at in the background. So I kind of like the way that I do it. All right, this is the Kubey or KB Nova, customized by Colin from Colin's Crazy Creations in this very cool purple and gold titanium theme. All the hardware is also titanium, so he made all that purple and gold as well. The only thing that wasn't titanium was the barrel spacers, which is kind of funny. They might as well have done that too, right? But yeah, the gold just really comes through in random spots all over this knife. It's very cool looking, especially on the clip. I think the clip's the coolest. It's got that kind of brush rubbed gold and purple coming in. Not to mention, the knife is super smooth. Super smooth. And you can actually reverse flick it. I don't know if I'll be able to, almost did it on camera. It's always harder to do that on camera, but yeah, that's a pretty good knife. Oh boy, might forget the name of this next one, though I may get lucky and have the box right beside me. Oh, I do. It is, oh, it doesn't have the name on it there. The KB384C, which I do forget the actual name of off the top of my head, but this one has become one that I really love. It's got full kind of bronzish titanium with Damascus pivot color rigs there, and this blue and purple camo carbon. Very sexy knife, not to mention very smooth, of course, and it opens 3 different ways. You got the flipper, you got the tab there for thumb or reverse flick, whichever you prefer, and you got a front flipper. So yeah, pretty nice one. I'm trying to move through these fast, guys. A lot of these I do have reviews on. I don't have reviews on everything yet, but if you want to see more in-depth, just look on the channel for the brand under the search bar, and you should be able to find it. This next one here was a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive CRKT tuna with a titanium flamed show side done by the CEO of Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and he did a great job. This flame work is probably some of the best that I've ever seen, and especially when the light hits it, I'm trying to show that the best that I can. Oh, there I go, hitting the camera again. Trying to show that the best that I can. It looks kind of plain when you look at it without light hitting it, but man, once light hits it, just gleams, right? And I like the knife design overall. I like the kind of dark orange accents. They kind of go well, I think, with the knife and the black stonewash coating. And I like the design before that, but it was pretty basic until they did that. So these next 4 were done by Etsy sellers, and they all kind of have different stories. This one here, an American, spiced up a CRKT Pilar. This is the smaller one, of course, and he poured some resin in with this kind of copper twill foil handle scale. Poured that green, black, and white pearl resin in there, and then I added some red Cerakoted titanium hardware and clip. Unfortunately, I couldn't, you see 2 of them are still silver. The way that he put this backspacer in here, and with the handle scale, he had to do some custom work, so you can't really get those out easily, and I don't want to strip them in there, so just left them as they are. But yeah, this is actually one of my probably 10 favorite knives right here. I really like the look. It's real easy to function. It's real smooth, and you know, the Pilar is only a $30 knife, so good job CRKT for that one. These next 2 are definitely big budget knives. Honestly, they're probably valued at under $10 before the custom work, but they were done by USA combat vets that came back and had their own little side gig on Etsy doing laser engravings. And you know what? This one was about 20. The other one's about 30. I will support them any day of the week. And I actually really like the looks of these. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, for under $10 for these knives, they're pretty good. Like, you know, I'm sure they're just a junk 440A steel or something, but I've seen knives that are $50+ not be this good, okay? This gentleman, of course, engraved the American flag on the blade, and then he put this 1776. And the next one, also done by a combat vet. He rubbed the knife in gold, 24 karat gold, and actually has the process how he does it shown on, I can't remember if it's his Facebook or his Instagram, but what he did is he kind of laser engraved this kind of rattlesnake onto the blade, and then he rubbed them with melted gold. And he has some finishes and stuff he applies to get it to stay, but it's very cool looking. You can get this knife for like $6, but I'm not gonna lie, just like the other one, the knife actually isn't that bad. I had a weird spot on the blade there, but again, if I can support some American combat vets, I know it can be a struggle kind of fitting back in with normal civilian life if you've been in combat. And this is something they do as side hustles, and I will always try to support that if I see it and I can afford it. This next one is a knife from Turkey. Never got a knife from Turkey before. Didn't know what to expect. I tried to have them do a engraving of the Reaper there on the blade. They kind of were able to do it. It doesn't look all that great, but you know, I didn't know what I was expecting. These are made by hand, so I mean, I'm sure you can tell that. It's not too bad. Not too bad of a knife. You know, it was only like $30, so that one's okay. I just think it's cool to have a knife made in Turkey in the collection. I have two Finch knives. First one is the Flint, kind of made after pirates, and it has the blood kyanite in it, which looks very nice. I really like kyanite. Probably some of the best resin out there is kyanite. It looks very cool. Case uses kyanite a lot. If you don't know, Finch is an American company, so they do OEM their knives in China. But yeah, I really love Finch. Finch is another one of my top 10 favorite brands. Love, love, love Finch. Here is the other Finch that I have in my collection. This one you can reverse flick. This is the Hellfire in liquid gold, I think is what they call this resin. This is also kyanite as well, and it literally looks like kind of magma moving. Very neat. This knife is incredibly smooth. Probably the smoothest Finch I've ever handled, and I really like that you can reverse flick it. You can't do that to many Finch knives, so yeah, that's a pretty nice one there. Then we're going to get into what I consider my Amazon finds, and these are 6 different knives that I found on Amazon from 6 different companies that are pretty good buys, all of them, I believe personally. First one is the cheapest titanium folding knife I've ever seen. This is done by Cool Hand in a pretty unique Damascus pattern as well. This knife, if you catch it at the right moment, is under $30, okay? Under $30 for 2 full, granted they are thin, but full titanium handle scales that look like this, and a titanium clip that actually functions pretty well. You can't beat that. You just can't. It is titanium. I have seen people anodize it. It's 100% titanium. Very neat. I was very impressed by that. Next is, I did find out is a clone, but you know, I kept it because I'm never going to be able to afford a model of his. Anyways, this is a Ethan Grow knife here. Don't remember the exact model number off the top of my head. Unfortunately, they don't put them on the blade. I kind of wish they did. I think the newer ones they do. As far as I understand, Ethan Grow does not do clones anymore, but they used to, and this was one of them. Not going to spend too long on that, but a Civivi clip did fit on it. I still like the looks of it, that's why I kept it. Gavco, I believe, is the name of the designer that makes these originally. I do need to do a video on clones and my thoughts of them, and I will do that eventually. But yeah, this is definitely a copy of his. And we will move all of these knives out of the way. Move them all out of the way here. So we still have quite a bit to get through. We're definitely over halfway, I think, of my folding knife collection. I am going to do a separate video on my fixed blades and traditionals. So keep on the lookout for that. All right. This was a somewhat newer brand of the last 2 years. Civivi made a knife that, it's not an exact duplicate of the Kershaw Dividend, but it's fairly close to the design. But I really like the orange accents, and I didn't have an abalone knife, so you know, I figured why not. This knife was $30 on bearings, but the Damascus is kind of messing up with the pivot ball there, so it doesn't fall shut very well, but opens very smooth. It's just kind of a pretty knife. Had to have one abalone in the collection, right? And I love orange, so these next three were my favorite from Amazon. And in no particular order, this one here is actually a build kit knife, and you buy it and you build it yourself. This is a Gen knife with the model number right there. They don't really have names. D2 blue stonewashed blade with a very unique G10 scale on both sides. Kind of unique clip with a red backspacer. This thing is awesome, guys. Smoothest knife in my collection too, hands down. Watch this. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy how smooth this knife is. I just honestly can't get over it. And it feels cool when you get a knife that's in all of its pieces, and especially if you're a knife person and you put it together yourself, it's just feels cool once it's done, right? Pretty awesome. And the knife is great for 30 bucks. Great knife. The next one is Trevisa. I know a lot of people on the channel really like this brand. I might have to get more of those eventually. A unique Skull G10. Back part of the handle with titanium. Front end of the handle with Damascus pivot rings there. Pretty large one as well. Pretty nice Damascus too. I must say, colors on that really pop. And yeah, it is just, you know, D2 blade steel on this. And these aren't available anywhere. And they must not be available anywhere ever again, because they've been sold out for about a year now, I think. But I am lucky to have picked this up. And for the materials, considering Damascus and titanium, I'm fine with D2 steel. I really am. And this knife's great on bearings. Does what it needs to. It was about 70 when they first came out. I'm sure it's worth more than that now. But this next one is the brand Trevisa. It has maple wood and multicolored resin handle scales. Arguably, I don't like all this nonsense up here. I wish they would have just done with plain titanium up here. They did make kind of like green, very light green titanium pivot rings there. And yeah, this knife is gorgeous. This is the closest I've seen a company be able to do VG10 Damascus that rivals Spyderco's. I think Spyderco does the best VG10 Damascus on the market in terms of how nice it looks. But they did a pretty good job with theirs. I really like this knife. It's very smooth. And you can, the way they did this indention in the blade allows you to reverse flick it easily. They knew what they were doing. Trevisa is a very upcoming company. Turns, unfortunately, hasn't been making as many new models, so hopefully they're not stopping, because I like their knives as well. But those were my 6 Amazon finds, and now we are going to move on to pretty much a bunch of companies that I own one knife of each company from. Starting with the Williamson Copenhagen company. we have the 07 with this kind of gold blade, gold hardware. This knife's actually really nice. Like, I have not reviewed this still yet. Blade's still 440C, but keep in mind this knife was only about $45 when I bought it. Came with this lanyard with the bead, and you know, it's a pretty nice knife. Very big knife, very smooth, pretty good axis lock for the size. They must have a pretty large spring in here for a blade this big, because this is a, you know, this is a thick boy. So that lock's gonna have to be good, and that spring's gonna have to be good to keep supporting a blade this large. But yeah, pretty nice knife. And it's cool to have one of Williamson's designs in the collection. Real Steel tried to kind of make a bushcraft knife as a folding knife, which is okay, I guess. I think if you're gonna do bushcraft, you should get a fixed blade anyways. But you know, it was a nice little attempt. But I did love the black stonewash mixed with this navy blue and black and white resin, which does not look as good on the camera as it does in person, but it looks awesome in person, especially in the sun. It also has a pocket clip that's very unique. You can see there it goes into the blade, and a very bright white backspacer to go with the white and the resin. Plus the knife functions really well. It's a very long knife, and if you've got little hands, this knife's gonna be hard for you to open and close. But I have large sized hands, so not too bad for me. The people with really large hands are gonna love this knife because how big it is. They did make fullers in the blade. I guess it's just for looks because you can't use them, but you can access the thumb studs pretty easily on this knife. But yeah, I really like this one. It's the only Real Steel knife that I got. CH Knives did this very unique titanium and carbon fiber knife that has a fade anno on it all over, everywhere, and just simple D2. This thing actually sold out fairly fast. CH Knives is a company that loves them knives, likes a lot, and I agree. Let's see, right there you can see the model number, CH3509. It is in D2 steel, but I've owned this for a while, and I mean, I wish they got a lot bigger than they did, because I think CH could have competed with the likes of, you know, Kizer and all of them if they would have kept improving. And I mean, this knife was around $80 when it first released, and for full titanium with this very unique, good carbon fiber overlay, fade anno, like, pretty nice, and good job for them, you know. I have my MKM knife here in Van Eyck steel, a Vox design here. Let's see, I got this knife right over here. The Jesper, that's what this is called. And toxic fat carbon with some lime green accents here for the knife, and DLC coated blade. I believe this is a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive, but don't hold me to that. Very unique big belly blade shape here, which gives you a lot more cutting edge for a lot less blade actual length. So in a lot of places where you have a 3-inch limit, you're gonna have more cutting edge with this, but you're not gonna have to worry about breaking any knife flaws, right? Not to mention the scales look cool. I always wanted toxic fat carbon in the collection, and they look cool from the top too. Some people don't like this color scheme. That's okay. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's a nice one. Another Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. The only Boker I have, this is the Boker Plus Quaken, I believe is the title of this knife. A Burnley design. The camera's going to focus in VG10. This one also sold out. It was in the red fat carbon. It is very nice. I like the fat carbon on this because it has the lines going around the outer edges and the kind of circles in the middle, which is some of the best looking fat carbon that you can have, except for the kind of, when you want to call it, the cut where they're all one direction and it kind of just looks like layers. Cross cut, I think is what that's called. But yeah, this knife's pretty good. I don't carry it very often. It was a gift from my wife, so. But it's pretty cool. I like it. It's been in the collection for a while. The next one's a pretty big favorite of people that have been watching the channel for a while. This is my heavily customized Ontario Rat 2, done by Way of Knife and EDC Gearhouse. They did a full graveyard theme. Look at that laser engraving on the G10. Very cool. Purple titanium hardware. Look at all this work done to the blade as well. They carved the top of the blade. They did this kind of Foxamon edge. They had a hand coming out of the ground there with its bones coming out of its fingers. That's some incredible detail. Then we got kind of the same theme going on this side as well. Yeah, pretty nice knife. I really like that one. All right. I think we got one set of knives to go. And some of these are some of my favorites, not all my favorites, of course. How many times have I said favorite today in the video? I will do a top 10 eventually. I'll have to narrow it down a lot. This is a company that has their own website, but they're also on Amazon. This exact knife, the model's still available in other colors, but this exact take of the model in this flamed finish is not available. This is the Monster. I don't know if this actually had a name. Oh, it did. The Glideman. The Glideman. Very awesome knife. I really like their version of flame titanium. You got the bronze hardware, M390 blade steel. Somewhat newer company into the game here, but striked real good with this first model. Did everything right, in my opinion. Pretty strong detent. That's probably the only negative. You really gotta, if you want this one out, you really gotta get it out. But it's definitely never gonna fail. Can't fail for sure. Some people like really strong detents, of course. But yeah, that's a pretty good one. That one's premium priced in my opinion, along with this one. This is the Defcon Barracuda in bright blue, anodized so blue that it's very reflective. So I would say it's kind of more polished blue titanium handles with the flame overlay on them. Same thing going on here, and with the clip as well to match that gorgeous dragon scale Damascus blade, which is very unique in the knife world. So usually you can only get this kind of thing on custom knives. I really hate that they did their branding so big on the blade. Other than that though, I really love this knife. It's very smooth. JK knives, Jungle knives. Like I said, it is the Barracuda. Awesome knife. I really love it. You saw how smooth that was. Yep. Pretty good one. This one was also customized by Colin's Crazy Creation, my only two-son. Unfortunately, two-son knives do not have names. So I can't really tell you the name. It's just a two-son in full titanium that he did bright blue and gold. I think on this side, the blue looks better. And on the other side, the gold looks better. So, and I actually really like that. So, not to mention that really bright satin blade. It's kind of done 4 different ways. She's got the top, the middle, side, and the bottom there. This is just a very shiny knife, and I actually kind of love that. So, I've not reviewed this one yet, but definitely will. Colin is a magician with titanium work. This one's a pretty cheap one that I actually really recommend. This is like a $20 O-Knife utility knife that you can get on Amazon or on O-Knife's website. They're, you know, O-Light's known for making knives. This is, or for making flashlights. This is their their version of a simple, cheap utility folder. This is the UI or U1, I guess is the model number, but it's just a simple little utility folder with carbon fiber scales. Probably one of the best utility folders that you can get, though, for sure. I do highly recommend you get that one, even if you're just going to use it at work to break down boxes or something. That's the best thing that you can get to break down boxes. But of course, we have my Demco 8020.5. I really like this knife, even if it's just a simple version of the Demco 8020.5. I feel like everybody needs one of these in their collection. Got a Lynch clip on there as well. This was one of the OS 10A ones, made in Taiwan. And of course, Andrew Demco is the owner of this company. I really like the Shark Lock. This is one of the most fidgety knives that exist for sure, which is why I think every knife collector should get a version of a Demco 8020.5. These things are so fun. All right, my next one was customized by Polish Custom Knives, but it's actually an Grow, and I didn't know that, nor did I know it was a Strider clone, technically. Polish Custom Knives does not do this anymore, but I have a full video on what happened with this knife. It was customized, heavily customized, by somebody there. But we won't get into the details of this today. If you want to go watch my review of this, you definitely can. Just search Polish Custom Knife on my channel. But he did a good job customizing it. There's the tag there, PCK, Polish Custom Knives. They're known for selling Herman knives pretty handily. He put kind of a Punisher on the clip, which looks very cool. Don't get me wrong, the customization on the knife is done very well. And I've owned this knife for like 4 years, so it's a very good knife, but I do wish they would have been more honest about what knife it was. I thought they made this knife by hand when I first bought it. That was earlier on in my collecting years, but yeah, it is what it is. I still like it, but I don't like it as much as when I bought it, just because of the shady fact. And then the next one is by far my crown jewel in my collection, and by far the most expensive. This is my Artisan Cutlery exclusive Riot Mini Crossroads, designed by Kirby Lambert, with CRKT huge bolsters up here, a very nice CRKT pocket clip, zirconium backspacer, full titanium handles, micarta and wood mixed back part of the handle, and a Damasteel blade. This is the definition of pocket jewelry. In case you were wondering, does the CRKT add any advantage over other knife materials? No. Though I will admit this knife is insanely comfortable thanks to that wood green micarta mesh mix. But this knife is just a beauty to look at, and I do not carry it very often because it is my Grail. But yeah, I absolutely love this knife. This will hopefully never leave my collection unless something really bad happens and we really need money. But yeah, I absolutely love this knife. Unfortunately, you cannot get this anymore. There wasn't very many of these made. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. And that will do it, guys. That is the knife collection of my modern folding knives. I will do a collection later on of my traditionals and fixed blades, kind of in one video. I have gained a lot of traditionals within the last year, so definitely time for an update for that. I do have other modern folding knives, either being made, on the way, etc. And paid too much in taxes last year, so I'll be getting some tax money to be able to get even more. But yeah, with that, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you made it all the way this long, if you liked any of this stuff, my collection is very wild and it will continue to be so. So if you like what you saw, consider liking the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and join along for the fun. Thanks for tuning in.